You like to talk about changing the fall, I think it's good.
We'd like to call a meeting to order of the Jackson County Commission, November 13th, 2017. Ms. Johnson, would you do a roll call for us, please?
District 1, Tim Duffy.
Present.
District 2, Jason Venable.
Present.
District 3, Melinda Gilbert. Present. District 4, Mike Sisk.
Present.
And the chairman is also present.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. If you would, folks, stand for invocation. Mr. Porter, would you kindly do that for us?
Let's all bow our heads together. Lord God, our Father, we're blessed to be here. We're thankful for this country. We're thankful for this county. All the many wonderful blessings that we're able to enjoy here. Not only the physical beauty, but the people of this county. We're so thankful for it. We're also mindful of those that throughout our nation that are hurting right now. God, we pray that you'll be with this community and protect us from such violence that we've seen in other parts of the country. So God, be with them as they recover and be with us and protect us. As we sing in Christ's name, amen.
Ms. Gilbert, would you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing we have is the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any changes to the agenda before we proceed? If not, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve it, Fred.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The awards and presentations part of the meeting is next. We have Jonathan Campbell, the county engineer, to discuss County Road 92.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I placed some pictures up on the wall, and I may have to stand and point some things out. As I go through this, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the issues. What I have planned is just to describe County Road 92 and the existing issues that exist there. Talk a little bit about the approach we took on soliciting bids for replacement, and then kind of outline the two options that we have from that bid process, and see how we'd like to proceed. You will notice that on the agenda there is an item for a motion to award this bid, the low bid, the contract. So I just want to say, as I go through this, I would like for it to be informal and us have any discussions if you have questions. And if at the end, if I explain everything and you feel comfortable about voting on that and moving forward, then that's why that's there. But if not, don't hesitate to table it until you get all the information that you need to you feel that you have made an informed decision. So I'll get started on explaining our problem, and these photos on the left really show it better than I can explain it. But the existing bridge was constructed in 1972. It's 45 years old. It's a 72-foot structure, 3 24-foot spans, and it's the precast channels that are so predominant in the county of the construction of that area. 24-foot wide curb to curb, 4 pile vents in the creek there that you see. Those are 4 pile vents, and then the abutments on each side of the embankment are 5 pile. The precast concrete caps, timber back walls, and this structure has been gross load posted at 15 tons since April of 16 due to the superstructure deterioration. So the existing road was constructed in the 60s using AKB treatment and then widened later in 04 with a plant mix or bituminous surface. So this project is prescriptive in right-of-way, and we're looking at 860 ADT, so 860 cars a day, 7.8% of which are trucks. So these are just some notes from the last inspection. The deck, superstructure, the precast channels have cracking and efflorescence. That's visible in those last 3 photos. Throughout the areas, exposed rebar with section loss. You see some section loss in the caps. And some of the beam sections of those precast channels there's some section loss and deterioration there, some areas of advanced deterioration. The substructure issues that exist, the timber backwalls are failing, surface rust on steel pile, and advanced delamination in abutment full of pile cap. That's not pictured there. So, the alignment of the bridge is contributing to this shorter lifespan. It has some drainage issues on the DeKalb County side of this, and it's contributed some moisture holding. And then once this concrete becomes porous and moisture's present, then we start seeing the things we're seeing. And so this project is located on 92 over Hickory Creek, and that's 1.15 miles east of the intersection of State Route 71 to the DeKalb County line. So if you're northbound on 71 and you make a right on County Road 92 at North Sun Mountain School, travel to the county line, you have arrived. So it's for these reasons that it's made the county's top 5 bad bridge list. Okay? And so what we looked at doing, we know from A-Trip that if we do a design from scratch bridge, we do an AASHTO girder bridge, that we're going to be in excess of what we can afford with local dollars. So what we tried to do is get our heads together on an approach or a way that we could do this to where we could save some of what was good, maybe allow some freedom to the contractors on how they approach building this or rehabbing it or replacing it, and see if there's some value there on using that existing substructure. So there's surface rust, as you heard me say, on the steel pile. Other than that, the piling is 45 years old, but we haven't had scour issues, section loss issues. The piling is okay. So we thought perhaps there's some value there on that being salvageable, and then looking at a rehab option. So we approached it a little bit out of the box as far as customary ways of doing bid solicitation, and that was to go design build. And going design build meant a couple of things. So it was a lot more work on the front end to figure out how to frame this up and to how to solicit folks and how to make sure that we're doing this. So it was basically kind of a hybrid on some old state specs that we found, which they no longer do design build unless it's a large dollar amount, and then some help from third party stuff, contractors and things of that nature. So we formed a set of specs that was sent out and solicited, and I'll just run through that real quickly on this process that we did. So the design build was sent out, and it had a mandatory pre-bid conference. So if you were going to turn in a bid for this project, you had to attend this conference so we could have these conversations about what our anticipations were, what maybe the county could do to save dollars on the rear end of this, and to make the bottom line maybe more feasible if we had a role in the construction versus just everything up from scratch. So pre-bid conference was held, and then that was mandatory. At that point, if they attended the pre-bid conference, then they could participate in bidding the project, but before we wanted them to go forward with a lot of time and effort and money into a full-on bid submittal, we scheduled a schematic or a design scheme concept meeting. So at a certain time after that pre-bid meeting, then they could just show us the concept of what they were thinking on replacements, and we could kind of give it the thumbs up or thumbs down and have further discussion about the county's role in whatever schematic they came up with. And in doing this, we tried to be lenient on, basically not tell them how to build it, but just define the end means. So we want a legal low bridge. You can use that existing substructure in your design if you so choose. But we want a new superstructure. We want a new deck. We want 24 curb to curb. We want at least 40 foot of back walls to take care of our issues that are going. And then the tie-in work, we specified that. And then they can even use the existing guardrail. It's in pretty good shape. So If they wanna utilize the existing guardrail and tie in, we let that. So, in doing this, they told us all of these things plus how long it would take them to do it. They set the schedule, and then we framed in some pay items, just a schedule. But if that didn't suit them, they can even submit that to us for our review. So after we had 3 folks approach us at the design schematic part, and then ended up with 2 bids overall. Those bids were open on October 10th, and with the full bid packages that I'll basically highlight here. Okay, the rest of this is, specs about progress, payment, bids, things of that nature to satisfy the Public Works bid law and the Alabama bid law. Okay, so the 2 options now, what we arrived at, I'd like to go over that now. Are there any questions up to this point? Anything? Okay, so, the 2 options now are going to be basically highlighted in these plan sheets. And so what I did is just take the overall plan view from the sheets and just kind of, I want you to just explain it from that. So option 1 was received by GSI, Geostabilization Incorporated, and you've probably seen some of their work locally. They are basically geohazard mitigation experts. So soil nails, rock bolts, so a lot of the slide work on 35, Lookout Mountain. There's even one out here on 72. That's really their niche, but they also have a bridge rehab section in their operation, as we learned. So what they proposed is this section here, and they're going to leave the existing back walls, utilize micro piles and tie backs, and then a shotcrete facade to make that composite abutment. And then they would come in with an integrated bridge system. So this is, you can't tell from this photo or this rendering, but it's basically a prefab metal structure. So it's a steel beam girder structure that would come in pieces. It would already be prefabbed in the shop, but it would come in and then be erected on site in several large pieces to make this bridge unit. And you'll notice that it is a continuous span, okay? So we lose these bents in the creek that we're dealing with now with the existing structure. These bents go away, and we have a continuous span bridge, a guardrail system, and then a corrugated bridge deck. So down at 513, yeah, and 507 has the same thing. 563 that we rehabbed. That's kind of what we're looking at on the deck, and then an asphalt wearing surface over that. In this plan, the most economical route, if we chose to go this way, the county would handle the demo, we would handle the traffic control, we would handle the tie-in work, and any excavation, this additional excavation required. So we would basically do their dirt work, their tie-in work, and all the traffic control for them. So the cost for that is $488,500, and then plus a $95,000 demo if the county decided not to do it, for a total of $583,500. So 40% of that would be material cost. Okay, so that would shake out for $350,000 thereabouts for the 111 account, 233 north of 233 for the 100 account. Because if they invoice us materials versus labor and equipment, then we can utilize our 100 fund, not necessarily solely the operational fund to do that. So they both kind of take a hit instead of just one that way. Okay, option 2. That's illustrated here. Any questions on this one before I move on to option 2? Okay, option 2, Bridge Builders of Alabama submitted this bid, and it's essentially the same thing that is there but new. So it would consist of, this is not a continuous span, okay? So we have piling in the stream, much like what we have. The abutments the existing pile would go, the caps would go, the whole structure would go. New pile driven for abutments, new abutments, precast caps at each pile, at each bent and abutment, encased pile on the wet abutments, and then for the back wall and the wings, it's a precast precast concrete with a tieback system and pile and cabling. And then the deck surface is gonna be the new version, the new standard version of what's existing, okay? So, little less innovative maybe, but when you look at the numbers on how that shakes out, their bid was $392,000, including a $20,000 demo, for a total of $392,000. So 124 of that they estimate to be material cost. That would shake out at 268 out of 111 and about 124 out of 100. Okay. So schedule wise, about the same. We're looking at 3 months either way, and the county would be obligated to traffic control and then tying work beyond the approaches. So I think we expect 100 feet tying on each end. We would handle that, and then if we wanted to do the demolition, we could say 20,000. But I can tell you from looking at the footprint of that and the existing structure, the dealing with the conflict and just removing all the mud line or completely removing, it's not worth the 20,000 in my opinion to pursue that demolition. They have the cranes and everything. 90,000, yeah. Yeah, that one, I think and it being continuous span, so you're not gonna have the footprint. That one I think we would go for, but the 20,000, I don't believe it's worth doing for what could arise out of that. Okay, so that's fast, but is there any questions about the two options?
On the in-creek piles on the existing structure, are we having any kind of obstructions with water flow? Any kind of pile up there that we're having to go out on a regular basis and take care of?
It's a very good question. Typically what we see, like you're talking about, is drift lot, the log jams and drift, or we have scour issues. So the turbulence from it creates an issue to where it's actually compromising the pile footing. Neither of those exist with this existing structure. So different things affect that, the rock bed and just
I've been
some
there,
creeks
but
have a
I'm
lot
not
of
that
issues.
familiar with it on a regular basis to know it's
It's a little bit deceiving, this vent that's in the water, like fully in the water, it's really closer to that bank. So I think a lot of the drift actually makes it on through and it don't start the issue yet. And we just don't have the scour issue on this structure like we do on some of the other, but really good question. Okay, so I like pros and cons. So I just kind of make a list of pros and cons on these scenarios, and I want to run through those right quick. So with the GSI option, it is continuous span. There is less disturbance, so we don't have the issues of being in the water and working around that. We're most likely going to increase elevation. It is innovative, and they do provide a warranty. So there's a 5-year warranty on their work. And fully loaded rated bridge, design drawings for the composite abutments, all that is in there. So the con, obviously the price tag is much more than the precast. And then the deck maintenance. That corrugated metal with a thin asphalt overlay, like on 507, you see after years of service, that is going to be a continual, it's going to be a continual maintenance item for that. So possible additional cost. I guess I'm not really sure where I was going with that. The possible additional cost. The deck maintenance. That was with the deck maintenance. Over the life of the structure, the additional cost that would be along with that deck maintenance issue.
That right on 7, what you're talking about, there's no traffic on it.
That's right.
I wonder how often we have to do that.
I don't know, Tim.
Close to 860 cars a day.
Yeah, all these, I think a lot of it's gonna reflect on how that structure behaves, you know what I mean, like the flexural expansion and contraction and how it does with that. We kinda had a conversation with them in regards to that, and they suggested some construction methods that may help, leveling out the corrugations and getting some good compaction before you do the additional wearing surface, possibly. Maybe even introducing some type of geotextile in those corrugations as a bond breaker. We tossed several things around, but I think either way you slice it, there's going to be some maintenance, additional maintenance costs on that deck if that's the route. So, I got not local here. They're not local, but they're local, you know, they're located in Chattanooga, they do business in Jackson County, so I don't know that not local, they're headquartered out of, Colorado, so. And then the county obligation. Obviously, in my opinion, if we go that route, then we have a serious obligation on that demolition. You know, I think for $90,000, we entertain that, we sit down and figure it out. And that's gonna obviously obligate some resources that we don't have a lot of, so, that's kind of in the comments. So, bridge builder option. Brand new structure, not using existing, even though that's kind of what we're after, but the cost, they are local, county obligation is in the pro side on this one because it's fairly minimal, traffic control, time work, some excavation, but, you know, this tieback system is part of their design, so excavation work I see to be fairly minimal. Concrete deck, this precast thing would be a concrete deck, and it's an LDOT approved standard, so it's a cookie cutter bridge that's already been tested, approved, out of the box. And it will have a conventional appearance, okay? So when you're approaching on County Road 92 to the bridge, you're gonna see a precast barrier wall, you're gonna see a concrete deck. Aside from the joints, longitudinal joints, it's gonna look like $1 million bridge, you know what I mean? So I think that is a pro, that it will have conventional appearance, whereas this other option, you're gonna see something less conventional on a steel fabricated guardrail system, and then the deck is gonna be an asphalt versus what we're used to seeing at a bridge, which is concrete, so.
Okay, on the asphalt versus concrete, weather, icing,
Oh,
that gonna cause
winter
any
weather,
issues?
I don't know that we really
I know like
explored that.
565 and things like that, because it's all concrete,
Yeah.
they shut it down in a heartbeat.
It's probably not gonna be good either way, just to be honest, you know.
Given your pros and cons and the price tag difference, do you see anything that would steer us toward using the first option instead of one of the bridge builders, in your opinion?
I don't. I think what they're doing is what we were driving after. We were looking for something innovative where they could do it minimally invasive, utilize what's good, incorporate it in their design, and give us a continuous span. But the economics wins out, in my opinion, on this because we have a lot more areas to get to. So,
And we have a lot less commitment on the cheaper one, out of our
yeah, that's right.
resources.
That's right. And we looked at comparative data on how does this shake out, and does this design build achieve what we set out to do? And so our data, the most recent data we have is our A-Trip projects, right? We had 3 designed from scratch bridges in that: Mud Creek, Dry Creek, and Bright Creek. So 165 footer, 110 footer, and 180 footer respectively on those. And we know if we go design scratch, we're probably not going to remain at 72 feet. They're going to back up on those abutments. It's going to be more like 100 foot. So if we look at all the data from the A-Trip project, we're averaging $7,500 a linear foot. So if we apply that to a 100-foot design from scratch ASHTO structure that we took to replace this, we're at $7,500 a linear foot. We're at $750,000. Okay? So the other comparative data that we drew to on this was Chisenhall Bridge. Some of you all may remember that, but this project was done in 2002, 2003. Precast bridge, the exact same bridge, except it was a 68-footer versus a 72. And then in 2002 and 2003, that total cost for doing the project was $351,498. So we essentially eliminated design cost, if we go this route, let's say, and we're getting a structure for $2002, $2003. So I think, the project's not done, so I'll knock on wood, but I think it helped us a lot in having these conversations and being liberal on how they approached it. And I can't say that if this all works out that we didn't achieve a very economical solution when we can replace a 2017 bridge for $2,002, $2,003 and not have any design cost in it. So,
Mr. Campbell, we thank you for,
Going
going
right
this
there.
route. I know you put a lot of time into trying
Well-
to get a different approach, and
appreciate it.
You're welcome, and it's, that engineering stuff over there, you've heard me say this before, I would put our folks against anybody, hands down. So they did all this work. I coached and cheerleaded a little, but they put all this together and worked hard and scratched and called folks and piecemealed and whatever we had to do to try to get it going. So
I'm sure you express our gratitude.
I will. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate that.
This is Mr. Campbell's presentation concerning County Road 92. Later in the agenda of the meeting, it will come to a place where we can make a motion or table it at that time. And from citizens, we want to welcome Dr. Reyes, the superintendent of the Scottsboro City Schools.
Well, I thought I was coming here to pick up a check for the kids. Boy, what I was here for?
I'm sorry.
Oh, my gosh, okay. Well, listen, we don't have the LCD capacity nor the time for me to do my whole presentation. It would take quite a while. But I did want to just come by and again introduce myself. I'm Dr. Jose Reyes, Jr. You can call me Jay. It's good to be back in Scottsboro. We've been gone for 27 years. I graduated in 1990 from Scottsboro, and my wife and I and my two boys are glad to be back. I do realize as a city school system, we do work with the county. We receive dollars from the county, a portion of the county-wide tax, so we do get that, and we certainly are very appreciative of that. Just wanted you to know, again briefly, that we've only been here 2 months, so we're still looking into things that we may or may not be able to do. 2 months is too quick to definitely set in stone this is what we are going to do or what we're not going to do as a city school system. And again, this may seem strange coming to the county commission to talk about this, but again, we're partners with you guys, and you know, our kids, although they're city school system kids, they're children of Jackson County. And so just kind of let you know, population drives what we're able to do or not able to do. I know that Mr. Dukes, I'm sure, has spoken with you about their population. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a few months back in the paper, he said they were down about 40, 45 kids, I think, in the county. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I read. I just want to let you know that we're in a similar situation. We're down about 45, 50 kids from our last census last year. We get that information 20 days after Labor Day. It's our 20-day count. Just like the county, if you'll go look on the ALSDE website, you'll see that they have information back as far as 95, 96. The county during that time has lost about 17% of their kids to somewhere. The city's lost about 15.6% of our kids to somewhere. Quite frankly, we know that jobs is certainly an issue, but we also do know this, that the demographics of our town, while the population has stayed relatively stable in terms of numbers, the composition of that population has changed. We also know that families don't have near as many children as they once did. You know, back when my parents were younger, they were, you know, my mother, there were 6 of them, and my dad, there were 7 of them, because again, they worked in agriculture and farmed, and so, you know, things have changed. So I just want y'all to know that just as the county's system, their numbers have changed, so have ours. And as we look to try to do the very best that we can with our facilities, with our human resources and the equipment and things that we have, you know, we're going to have to do like you do here when you conduct the county's business. How can you get to the most bang for your buck? How can you use the resources that you have the most in the most wise manner to help the citizens of this county? Again, we as the city school system, you know, we want to do the same thing, and we face some of the same struggles that all of you do. So again, I just wanted to let you know kind of where we were population-wise. I could go through and give you all the numbers for the high school, the middle school, the elementary schools. Basically, our issues are more elementary than secondary. Although we are losing some students in the secondary levels, it's not near what it is at the elementary level. I think a lot of that secondary level has to do with, we do have a few things to offer that specifically athletics, extracurricular, that might not, you know, the county might not can field, and so we do pick up a few students there, but you know, we are still going through the exact same thing that the county's going through in terms of losing students, and but I take this as an opportunity. It is a challenge, but it's an opportunity, and again, it's an opportunity for us to look as a city school system about how, again, we use and allocate the resources that we have. If any of y'all would ever love to meet with me, because when I say it's a presentation, it would probably take me about a half an hour just to kind of give you an entire background of demographics and the history of the city school system. I've learned a lot. I mean, it's amazing how things have changed. In 79, 80, 81, we had about 3,500 kids in the Scottsboro City School System, believe it or not. And we now have about 2,500. Again, the county's gone through the same kind of thing. I didn't go back that far with the county, but in 95, 96, there were over 6,300 kids enrolled in the county schools. Now there's 52, 98, something like that. So again, it's similar percentage-wise, and just like it is with the business you do, it is what it is, and then we have to do the very best with what we have. So as we look at making plans for the future, a lot of it's going to be based on our population. And I'd love to sit down and speak with any of y'all. I don't know if you have children to go to our Scottsboro City Schools or not. I'm not sure if you live in the city limits of Scottsboro, but I could certainly show you in depth of where we were and where we are. And we just got to figure out where we're going to go from here. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to come. Again, we're don't want to spend 30 minutes of your time. I know you have a lot of business, but if y'all ever need me, y'all know where our office is. Give me a call, come down. We can have a cup of coffee, and I could get more in depth with our numbers with you, and maybe where we may or may not be thinking about going in the future. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to come by and see you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you coming down.
Thank y'all so much.
Red, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much.
And, thank you for coming.
Well, we're glad to be back.
Appreciate it.
Look forward to working with you.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back.
Like I said, we're all part of it.
Do you know your free and reduced number got I know the backpack program is a lot of money.
We're going to be somewhere now. It's going to change with schools, because different schools have different levels, but we're going to be somewhere in 55 to 60% is where we're going to be.
I'm just being curious.
Yeah, that's
Our
about
school
where we
runs
are.
around 70 something.
Yeah, and it depends, depending on where the school's located. Again, there's been demographical shifts in terms of where people live, and demographical shifts in terms of the type of employment that some people are able to acquire. So, and believe it or not, that sounds like that's a lot, but it's not as bad as some places. I mean, there are some places where we're talking 80, 90, even close to 100% free and reduced in some areas. So, while we would like for it to be better, because that's obviously a reflection of the job market where we are, it still could be a lot worse. So again, challenges, but opportunities is how I like to see it.
So I
So
hope we can all work together to get that better.
I hope so. And we have a great relationship with the county. Mr. Dukes and I have known each other for a long time, so we have a great relationship. We share the tech center. We have a lot of kids go there. I think we have about I want to say 115 or 20 that go there, and so we get a great opportunity to do that. We do provide financially. We pay a certain amount of money per kid that we send up there, but it's a great relationship there, and actually I think it's going to make some folks happy. I think our calendars are going to be even closer this year than they have been in the past. So he and I sat down. It's not going to be the same, but it's going to be closer than it was last year, and I think that's going to be helpful. And obviously we can't, it's obviously not going to be exactly the same, because they're, different systems and may have different needs, but it's going to be a lot closer than it was last year. So I appreciate him allowing me and him to sit down and speak about that. So I think that's going to be much better.
We got the opportunity to vote on it today, or to give our input today.
Okay. All right, well, good. So, all right. Again, I appreciate y'all coming by and seeing me. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
The next person on the list for public comment from citizens is Lynn Wicks.
That's me. I know it was the last several weeks, y'all heard a lot of negative stuff about bile salts. I live in Rosalie, and I put it on my property, and I've seen a tremendous improvement in my grass. Mr. Ashburn was out there at one time, and I don't know if you can remember, but you could see the difference between where they put it and in the buffer zone where they did not. It's the difference between daylight and dark. I just want to show my support, because you've been hearing a lot of negative stuff, but it is a great product. And I personally, I do not want to see it go away. And that's it.
You real crop or you got beef cattle?
Beef cattle. Yeah. So grass is very important to me.
And you're not having any issues with
No.
the illnesses of the cattle?
Oh, no. They're healthy. I mean, extremely healthy. I just sold some a few weeks ago and done very well. They grew off real well. My
Where's your
pond
property located at?
in Rosalie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You close to that Mr. Kirby's property?
Yeah, he's my next door neighbor.
County
Yeah.
road? County road
260.
260.
And then the other property's on County Road 352. I cleared about 55 acres last year. And as you know, last year we went through a drought. And Bryant Creek was just totally dry. So that's when they went across and they got the other 10 acres across the creek. So when they done that, I sowed it all down in grass. And they put it, on there, and I've got a tremendous stand of grass, new grass. So I've increased my field there from 22 acres to about 78 acres. So that's like, I heard you've been hearing a lot of negative stuff, but it's great. And they have tested my water, and they test my soil too, before I could get into their program. So,
You live on the property that you farm?
yes. Yeah, I've got a house, and I'm fixing to move another trailer back in. I'm on the property the majority of the time.
Are you anywhere near County Road 314 or 14?
No, not to my knowledge.
Well, what our standpoint is, what we gotta really look at, like I told you the other night though, is, the hazard that might be out there that I don't feel like they've got all the results put out in black and white, cause really what threw me is why is Tennessee pushing it over on our side. It's just like, you build that pH up and you put nitrogen on the ground, and if you don't put anything, you ain't gonna have nothing
Well, I agree.
when it comes pasture.
I agree.
And, that's pure fertilizer, I understand that. But, all these folks right there that can't walk out there on the patio, or can't enjoy their families, and, I farmed all my life, and, I wanna do what's best, I wanna cut every corner I can, to make it profitable. But, I don't want my neighbors mad at me, and I'm not gonna go along with anything without more information on what's taking place, and it come down, which you read them statistics that Gary had here a few weeks ago, Jackson County is bad when it comes to cancer.
Yes, I understand that was 2010 through 2014.
Yeah, we don't even have the up-to-date ones,
Right.
But, and every one of us here in this room have got a relative or a friend that's passed away with some kind of cancer here, recently. And, that's the part that I'm looking at. What is it gonna do with all these metals being put out there in the ground? Things that, they're not telling all the issues, cause they said Auburn okayed it. Well, Auburn okayed it, but you can get it by anything okayed if you got the right person there,
And I mean, I understand that, but, have they tested the chicken litter and the hog manure and all that?
Right. Right.
If we're gonna be
Yeah.
fair, let's do it all across the board.
Well, I'd say that probably chicken litter has been tested time and time again. I don't know, but, there's a total difference from that chicken. You got that one chicken right there with a lot of steroids been put in, different things. But you've got that hospital up there with a lot of the diseases that's been
Yeah.
applied. And that's the part that we're really concerned about,
I understand.
on my standpoint,
And then chicken litter hasn't been treated the same way.
you know.
It's not been treated at all because I put it on my farm and they bring it straight out of the chicken house and put it on the ground.
Right, right,
So, the testing part.
yeah.
The only action that we can take is to ask delegation to take some action.
I understand that, and like I said, y'all been hearing a lot of negative stuff, but I wanted to let you know that, from my perspective, it's been a great product.
I've talked to some other farmers that used it, and they, oh, it's great, it's great. I said, yeah, I know it is money-wise and making the production, but what is it doing otherwise, That's the only question that goes in my mind.
We appreciate you coming down today, we really do. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
The next thing we have for a comment, we have a representative from Community Insurance.
Well, good afternoon. How are you doing again? Good to see you. My name's Scott Head. Just I recognize some faces, some I do not. So again, just to give you a quick background, myself and Steve, we work at Community Insurance. I formed the company about 11 years ago. I'm a long-time Blue Cross and Blue Shielder for about 16 years, and then started this agency in 2006, and then along around 2012 began working for Jackson County. And what that work involves is a couple things. Number one, I handle your life insurance, company paid life, and then likewise the voluntary life insurance and also the vision insurance. And so it's my job every year to kind of analyze that and go to market to make sure that from a contractual basis, do we have the best contract in force in terms of the benefits and how they're applied? Secondly, do we have the best rates? And in doing that last year, I surmised that looking at the dental that you presently have through the state government program versus what we could do with a Guardian, we could put you folks in a better position with the same pricing. And so, without having a PowerPoint presentation in this kind of format, what I wanted to do is give you two sheets that we will quickly go over, that will summarize, and I'm going to need to get one of those back, what we're looking at. So what I've attempted to do on the very left-hand column is the Blue Cross and Blue Shield coverage that you presently have through the state program. And so we see the rates. I don't have to read it all to you. So we've got a 2030 for Blue Cross, we have a 2028 for the Guardian, but really what I want to focus on are a couple areas. If you see your benefit area, it's $25 deductible with 3 deductibles per family, hence $75. If you have 4 people in your family, 5 people in your family, only 3 people meet that deductible. So we have preventative covered at 100%, and that's typically your scaling and polishing of teeth, your bite wing x-rays, and space maintainers for prematurely lost teeth for children. And so it's 100 for preventative for whether you're Blue Cross or the middle column with Guardian. Then when we get to basic, those are things such as your panoramic x-rays, your simple tooth extractions, fillings, endodontic treatment, periodontic treatment, etc., where you're presently getting paid at 50% or getting reimbursed at 50%. With the Guardian, it would be a 60% reimbursement. And then for major services, inlays, onlays, crowns, dentures, you have a 50% reimbursement, whereas we can get your employees a 60% reimbursement instead of the 50%. It is a $1,000 annual maximum, or excuse me, lifetime maximum for the orthodontic benefit. For the annual maximum with, as far as the total payment of claims, $1,500 per person. But the one thing they do not have, they being Blue Cross and Blue Shield, is Guardian has what they call a max rollover. To describe that, I use the analogy of like rollover minutes. You don't use all of your phone minutes one month, you can roll over a portion the next month. And in this example, if you use, first of all, you have to use the dental benefit one time. That triggers the benefit. If you use less than $749, the following year you can roll over $350 in benefit. Therefore, you began January 1 of, say, 2019 with $1,850 worth of maximum, not $1,500 worth of a maximum, okay? And you can also grow that until you reach $2,750 as far as an annual maximum is concerned. One of the other big issues that, again, not the matrix, but the other sheet that I gave you is going to detail. This is actually an annual open enrollment. You do not have an annual open enrollment as it pertains to the medical. And if you get single health, you get single dental with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. If you get family medical, you get family dental with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. You have roughly 200 employees on your program, give or take. You only have 11 family contracts in the last time I looked, which means out of the 200 employees you have, only 11 of them have an opportunity to take family coverage. The other 189, they may not be able to afford family medical, but would like to have family dental. This gives them the opportunity to have family dental, whereas they cannot have family dental with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Secondly, or lastly, if you will, if you see the third column, that is a buy-up option. So if you've got someone that wants a more enhanced benefit, and really the enhancement comes from the 80% under basic instead of presently at 50%, or the Guardian option at 60%. Likewise, periodontics is at 50% along with major under Blue Cross. Under the Guardian offering for the middle column, it's at 50 and 60. This would kick it to 80% if someone wanted a higher level of plan. You can have 195 people on the low option plan, you can have 5 people on the buy-up plan. That's entirely at the employee's discretion, okay? As far as open enrollment, we're presently going through open enrollment right now. The way I could envision this, if you elected to do it, probably 75% of your people are going to want to remain where they are. Anyone that wants to change are going to be the people that currently have single dental but would like to take family dental. For those people alone, we would simply need a new application from them. All of the other information we could garner from getting a census from you. Okay? As far as the dentist, that's one of the things that comes up. Network. That's on this page, and I'll I just share this with you. Guardian has every provider that Blue Cross does, with exception, Guardian has 4 additional providers in this area than Blue Cross, and you see their names. I won't repeat those while we're on the air, so to speak. And then Blue Cross has 2 more providers than Guardian does. And so they have the network intact. You're not going to have a situation very often where you've got someone that has to go in on network. If you have it with Guardian, you already have it with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Okay. So that, in a nutshell, is the product we're offering. It's in concert with the Guardian product that you already have. Obviously, when you add another line of coverage, that lends to leverage at renewal the following year. Whereas we have 3 lines of coverage now, this will be the 4th line of coverage through Guardian. Any questions for me?
It's basics, that's just cleanings and different things, is that what?
That would be the preventative area. And in fact, what I brought, instead of having to go through this, one thing that I made sure that was accomplished, I have, this is the dental plan through the state, and this is the plan through Guardian. And so what I made sure was accomplished, when you start getting down to what is covered in preventative services, what's in basic, what's in major, that those service areas were covered in the same areas they are on the Guardian. Because a lot of times people can come in with a lot cheaper rate when they move preventative service, or move certain services from, say, basic down to major, where instead of a 60% or an 80% benefit, it goes to a 50%. That's not what's been accomplished. If it's covered in preventative here, or excuse me, under the Blue Cross, it's likewise covered here. And then under basic and under major, okay?
But still no option for independent dental, you have to have a medical to get the dental.
No, you wouldn't have to. If somebody did not have the medical here and wanted the dental coverage, they could get it, but under Blue Cross and Blue Shield, you cannot. Good question.
I think,
I have to deny it, so.
Yeah.
That's
what
probably
I
what
went
I would
over,
want it.
what I get out of it is our employees basically would pay the same amount, but you just get a better service for the same amount, except for family, which is cheaper, they're gonna save a couple bucks if they go family.
Now, the one thing we were able to do, and I didn't bring that proposal in this year, last year, we talked about a proposal that mirrored the exact benefit you have presently, and it was approximately an $8,000 savings to the county for the very same benefit. The thought was, since raises weren't going out, since there were some other things relative to what you could and could not do, we tried to increase the benefit level to provide something for your employees while keeping the cost static for you.
Appreciate that.
We thank you for letting us come in here and talk to you about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Opposed, say no. Next thing is a motion to discuss vacating County Road 96 for the Woods Creek project to set a date for the public hearing. Do we have a motion to vacate County Road 96? And can we have a date for the public hearing?
We don't have to make the motion.
We don't have to motion, yeah, to vacate.
Vacate it.
No, all this is a motion to set the public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, just so that we can then have the
I
hearing.
make a motion that we set a public meeting to discuss the vacating.
Okay.
And if we can get a date, it has to be 30 days. And I left my calendar at the office, so I'm not sure.
Not flipping on
Not
my
this
phone.
upcoming work session, but the next work session.
Within
No,
30 days, 30 days
it has
out.
to be at least 30 days out.
Yeah.
At least
30 days public
Yeah,
notice.
it was December, you remember what? December 16th, maybe?
Yeah.
The 18th.
18th, we are meeting, be a work session.
The what day?
18th.
It'll be over 30
First
days.
and thirds are work sessions, right?
Yeah,
Second,
so the
fourth.
18th. Would be 30 days, it'd be 2
One,
days out.
so before that would be the 11th. Today's the 13th, it's not gonna get it, so it's going to be 18th.
December 18th. December 18th.
Okay, December 18th. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no.
Now, I will get the notice out, so we can get the notice out, and I'll take care of it.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next thing we have is a motion to approve the department head's recommendation for vacant motor vehicle technician 1 positions with the tag and tile department.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. And appoint a member to the Jackson County Healthcare Authority Board. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to nominate Jane Bonner.
We have a motion for Jane Bonner. On the list, do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Next, we have a motion to approve and sign a contract amendment with Kirkland's Pest Control for the cabins at the county park.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
A second.
A motion and a second. Any more discussion?
It's just an amendment, so it doesn't have to be rebid.
Right. This is just an add-on.
And it was gonna be all in one next year, correct?
Correct.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The next thing we have is a motion to approve the airport contract grant amendment. We discussed this at the last work session about the additional funding being made for the airport project.
I'll make that motion. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next, we have a motion to approve and sign a resolution concurring with the proposed bill regarding biosolids. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a motion to approve and sign a resolution concurring with the proposed bill regarding biosolids?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. Porter, did we find out on this, or can we discuss it this time?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's ready for this.
Okay. Did we find out on this because they've put several things up, like for bills in the past, and we've not had to do a resolution? Is this something we have to do a
This is
resolution on?
one you have to do a resolution on.
Okay.
Can you explain why?
Well, because it's constitutional amendment. To my knowledge, it's the first time we've had a local constitutional amendment that had been put forward.
Okay. I just knew that they had done several things in the past that, we didn't have to be a part of, and we're just curious.
If it passes, there's not a bill passed yet.
Yes.
So, they've got to put the bill out and get it passed before they can actually get it passed. All this is a resolution concurring in that.
Okay. I'll second that motion, please.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Next, we have a motion to approve the department head's recommendation to terminate 2 temporary employees with Public Works Department.
Make that motion.
We've got a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Next, we have a motion to approve the department head's recommendations for the fill of the HMT1 positions for Public Works Department. There'll be 3 positions.
Make a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll make a second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next, we have a motion to approve the department head's recommendation for a vacant temporary labor position with the Public Works Department.
Make a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Have any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Next, we have a motion to approve extra holidays for Christmas, Tuesday, December 26th, and for New Year's, Tuesday, January 2nd of 18.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. We have a motion to award a low bid for the design, build, bridge, rehab, replace on County Road 92. And this is what we just discussed with Mr. Campbell.
I'll make the motion to accept the bid from Alabama Bridge Builders. Second that.
We have a motion and a second to award it for the Alabama Bridge
low-
Builder.
the
The low
low-
bid.
Yes, second presentation.
I'd like to have just a little more discussion on that right there. Only thing, and I mean, Jonathan done a great job. The only thing that's kind of threw me off is that corrugated deal, Jonathan.
That's on the first one.
On the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
All
Well,
right.
this one will be traditional.
Right,
Option two will look like a conventional bridge.
right, okay, okay. I'm good.
Conventionals.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're right. Traditional and conventional.
yeah. I can go with that then.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Yeah, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next thing we have is a motion to approve and sign the employment contract for the personnel department. This is where we were going from a temporary employee to a contract employee. Part-time employee, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion and a second.
Let's see.
Got a second, all in favor say aye.
Uh,
All opposed say no. The next thing is a motion to discuss community corrections.
Make a motion, we table that till tomorrow, probably Thursday at 10:30. We're gonna continue this meeting until Thursday, 10:30, we'll have a meeting with DLC, Department of Corrections.
Can I make a motion that we go quickly into executive session just to discuss this?
Sure.
Yeah.
You can deal with it.
Okay.
That is a proper motion at this time.
Okay, we have a motion, and right now we're going into executive session.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
We need to state a reason, good name to.
Good name and character.
All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. And what we want to do
Yes,
is recess till next Thursday at 10:30.
Next Thursday or this Thursday?
This coming Thursday at 10:30.
I make a motion
Yes.
to recess until this Thursday.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We will be in recess until next Thursday, this coming Thursday at 10:30
Thank
on the 16th.
You have a blessed day.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. John.
Sorry.